Yes, after reading the final products of the student's report, there wasn't as much detail as I thought when we talked about it. The students really put maybe 5 words in a sentence, and just the descriptive words that I thought I really instructed in the lesson and told the students to use were not in. Even my highs had trouble writing.
Even with the supports that you gave them,
yes.
You felt like it wouldn't do that. So let's go ahead and look at some student work here, and go ahead and go over some of what you're telling me about, and what you think was successful and that didn't. Just to remind me. The student learning goal was to write a personal narrative and be able to use the beginning of the middle and the end of the story.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll go with this one. The best present I ever received was my dog Eleanor. So they talked about the person who gave him this present. So the beginning, I felt overjoyed when I got the dog. I snuggled with my puppy. I played fetch with Eleanor. And she used some descriptive words. Dog is brown, black, white. The size is about medium. And then at the end it said, this is why this is the best present I ever received, because she makes me happy.
Okay, so would this student be considered where in your grouping of students?
I'd say she's one of my top.
Okay, and so in your higher student performers, you are seeing a lot of what you are wanting to see in the lesson. A good beginning, middle, and an end. It looks like pretty good grammar and such. Room for improvement, of course. Yes. But this student did really reach the learning goal. Okay. Yes. Then what do we have here?
This would be a lower student.
But not one of our focus students?
Not one of the focus students. I say they got the beginning, best present I ever had, hoverboard, and who gave it to you?
That's a great present.
I felt overjoyed when I received it, and then they just didn't go into detail. I wrote it every day because I loved it so much, but then that was about it for the detail.
Okay. And then what do we have here?
This would be another high one.
Okay.
I feel like she got beginning, middle, and end as well too.
During the lesson, was she a self-starter or
yes?
Did you have to encourage her? What about
the
self-starter?
This student was also a self-starter. This one I had to encourage. They weren't sure what they wanted to write about.
Okay, so he needed some support.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, with more check-ins.
And then what do we have here?
This is one of my IEP students.
Okay.
He was not a self-starter at first because he wasn't sure what he wanted to write about. So we had to sit with him and kind of discuss some of the presents that he likes to play with the most. I feel he did good on the beginning because they talked about who gave it to him and why they received this present. Didn't really go into detail. They feel excited, why, and then 3 words.
Yeah.
Not really sure on
I
that
see
one.
what you mean. Yeah. So looking at this, what do you think would have helped him be more successful?
I think more scaffolding. Our sentences, he struggles with sentences, so maybe sentence starters, me checking in with him more.
So I hear you saying, I think, is that even though he did have some good support here, he still needs more support.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And that was an IEP said. Now here we have our little SBC student. Was this all scaffolded for him? Like it looks like he had a scribe.
Yep, had a scribe. He had fill in the blanks. I made a fill in the blank for him, so this is kind of what I wrote for him, and it talked about it. So
do you think that supported him fully? Because it looks like a pretty complete writing piece considering the challenges that I know that he had coming into it.
Yes and no. I had to, myself or the pair really had to sit with him because even though it said, one of the best friends I ever had was A, so he could do that, but then I got it on and he struggled with, he couldn't remember when he got it on, and so I give ideas, holiday, birthday, person who gave it, and I still have to sit there and be like, okay, well, who was the person who gave it to you? So I have to ask him the questions in order for him to fill it out. He's not one that can just go on and, oh, here's excited, nervous, surprised, how was I feeling?
So, but by adding that scaffolding of questioning, it does seem to look like he's reaching the learning goal here with it.
Yes.
Yeah. And what you're looking is for him to be a little bit more independent in this
Yes.
writing. So you and I can brainstorm about some ideas to help him move on from this heavier scaffolding into independence. Okay. So we spent some time, we spent a lot of time watching the video. I know that was very uncomfortable for you. And then I also, you took a lot of notes during it. I took notes ahead of time and as well, separate from our watching of the video. And so I'd like for us to spend some time comparing what we saw on the video. First of all, I want to start up and say that I really could see that you were well prepared for the lesson. And how did you feel about the way that you started a whole group? What did you notice about your lesson as you were doing it?
Well, I don't like watching myself on the video,
I
but when I watched, it kind of looks like everyone seemed engaged.
I agree.
And then I assumed since they were engaged, I gave my directions that everyone kind of knew what they were doing. And so looking at the video, though, it doesn't look like I gave as much support as I thought I did, because when they got turned loose after whole group, a lot of people were kind of frozen.
Okay. And so I one of the things I noticed was that when you were modeling the personal narrative, when you were up there, that everybody was engaged. I made notes that the majority of the students demonstrated understanding of the text. That was all of them. Even little JB at the back was totally engaged in what you were doing. I will say that when you did, how I knew was because they were nodding and they were raising their hands and they were asking questions and I